what, I asked everybody to write their intros, right, so that I could say what really needed to get said about them. But this woman is very special to me, for a long, long time. And Sylvia Ann Soares went to the Community College of Rhode Island in 1993. She's homegrown, see, that's right, this is the point, this is the important point here. Brown University in 1995. She is a union member, SAG-AFTRA Equity. She's a theater person, artist, writer, historian, and activist. She's worked in New York City's 60s Black theater movement, also appearing in 1970s television, on film, regional stages, towns, and local theater. The Rhode Island Council for Humanities funded her illustrated talks on Rhode Island Cape Verdean history. They funded Sylvia Ann to be Living History of Nancy Elizabeth Prophet, first person of color to graduate from the Rhode Island School of Design in 1918. Sylvia Ann will perform her solo piece on Prophet this fall at AS 220, downtown Providence. She serves on the board of the Refugee Dream Center, Mount Hope Learning Center, and Cape Verdean Museum, and is the ceremony chair for the Providence Middle Passage Ceremonies and Port Markers Project at Brown University Center for the Study of Slavery and Justice. And besides that, Sylvia Ann Soares ain't been doing nothing. We're really, really, really proud to have her here tonight. Thank you, Sylvia Ann.
Yes, I was fortunate to meet Joyce when I came back home in '81 and do some activist work with her, certainly not as much as she's done. And thank you, Joyce, for inviting me here to celebrate this marvelous man, Pete Seeger's birthday. Thank you, Pete, for a wonderful legacy that you've left us. I'm going to share some poems from Sonia Sanchez and one from Harjo. Sonia Sanchez, really quickly, African-American poetess who is probably she is in her 80s now. I did a workshop in New York, 60s Black Movement Theater with her at the Negro Ensemble Theater, and I've been watching her poetry. She was at that time very supportive of Malcolm X, and so she joined the Black Muslim group Elijah Muhammad, but then shortly left them because she did not agree with Muhammad's personal behavior in regards to women especially. And somehow she found her way to California, Berkeley, where she joined the Panthers. And she told them a few things about their sexism, and they weren't very happy with that either. And so eventually she left them. And she eventually ended up teaching at Temple University in Pennsylvania. And her work has gone all the way from being focused on blacks in America all the way to global issues and humanity, which is why I love her. And you will see that these poems, while written a few years ago, relate to the present situation. The first one is Reflections after the June 12th March for Disarmament that was held in Central Park. And that was 1982. I've come to you tonight out of the depths of slavery, from white hands peeling black skins over America. I've come to you tonight from Reconstruction eyes that closed on black humanity, that reduced black hope to the dark huts of America. I've come to you tonight from the lynching years, the exploitation of black men and women by a country that allowed the swinging of strange fruit from southern trees. I've come to you tonight through the Delaney years, the Du Bois years, the B.T. Washington years, the Robeson years, the Garvey years, the Depression years, the you can't eat or sit or live, just die years. The civil rights years, the black power years, the black nationalist years, the affirmative action years, the liberal years, the neo-conservative years. I've come to say that those years were not in vain. The ghost of our ancestors searching the American dust for rest were not in vain. Black women walking their lives in clots were not in vain. The years walked sideways in a forsaken land were not in vain. I have come tonight to you as an equal, as a comrade, as a black woman walking down a corridor of tears, looking neither to the left or the right, pulling my history with bruised heels, beckoning to the illusion of America, daring you to look me in the eyes, to see these faces, the exploitation of a people because of skin pigmentation. I have come to you tonight because no people have been asked to be a modern day people with the history of slavery. And still we walk, and still we hope, and still we sing. I've come to you tonight because there are inhumanitarians in the world. They're not new. They're old. They go back into history. They were called explorers, soldiers, mercenaries, imperialists, missionaries, adventurers. But they looked at the world for what it would give up to them, and they violated the land and sectioned it up for private ownership. They looked at the people and decided how to manipulate them through fear and ignorance. And they looked at the gold and began to hoard it and to worship it. I have come to you because it is time for us all to purge capitalism from our dreams, to purge materialism from our eyes, from the planet Earth, to deliver the earth again into the hands of the humanitarians. I've come to you tonight not just for the stoppage of nuclear proliferation, nuclear plants, nuclear bombs, nuclear waste, but to stop the proliferation of nuclear mines, of nuclear generals, of nuclear presidents, of nuclear scientists who spread human and nuclear waste over the world. I come to you because the world needs to be saved for future generations who must return the earth to peace, who will not be startled by a man-woman's skin color. I come to you because the world needs sanity now. Needs men and women who will not work to produce nuclear weapons, who will give up their need for excess wealth and learn how to save the world's resources, who will never again, as scientists, invent just for the sake of inventing. I come to you because we need to turn our eyes to the beauty of the planet, to the bright green laughter of the trees, to the beautiful human animals awaiting to smile their unprostituted smiles. I have come to you to talk about our inexperience as living it as human beings through death marches and camps, through middle passages and slavery, and thundering countries raining hungry faces. I am here to move against leaving our shadows implanted on the earth while bodies disintegrate in nuclear lightning. I am here because I shall not give up the earth to non-dreamers and earth molesters. I'm here to say to you, my body is full of veins, like bombs, waiting to burst with blood. We must learn to suckle life, not bombs and rhetoric rising up in red, white, and blue patriotism. I am here, and my breath, our breaths, must thunder across the land, arousing new breaths, new life, new people who will live in peace and honor. This poem that Sonia wrote was in 1994. I've updated a few numbers for present day. This, she wrote, poem for July 4th, 1994, for President Václav Havel, who you know was a Czech president. He then had multiple stints in jail for his political activism. There was nearly 4 years, and then he was out and re-elected by a landslide when they overthrew the government, and that was in 1993. So here is a poem for July 4th, 1994. It is essential that summer be grafted to bones, earth, clouds, blood, the eyes of our ancestors. It is essential to smell the beginning words where Washington, Madison, Hamilton, Adams, and Jefferson assembled amid cries of, well, people lack information. We grow more and more skeptical. The Constitution is a triple-headed monster. Blacks are property. It is essential to remember how cold the sun, how warm the snow, snapping around the ragged feet of soldiers and slaves. It is essential to string the sky with the saliva of Slavs and Germans and Anglos and French and Italians and Scandinavians and Spaniards and Mexicans and Poles and African Americans and Native Americans. It is essential that we always repeat, we the people, we the people, we the people. Let us go into the field, one brother told another brother, and the sound of exact death raising tombs across the centuries, across the oceans, across the land. It is essential that we finally understand this is the time for the creative human being, the human being who decides to walk upright in a human fashion in order to save this earth from extinction. This is the time for the creative man, woman, who must decide that she, he, can live in peace, racial and sexual justice on this planet. African American, whites, Latinos, gays, Asians, Jews, natives, Americans, lesbians, Muslims, all of us must finally bury the elitism of race superiority, the elitism of sexual superiority, the elitism of economic superiority, the elitism of religious superiority. So we welcome you on the celebration of 240 years, Philadelphia, America. So we salute you and say, come, move out into this world. Nourish your lives with a spirituality that allows us to respect one another's birth. Come, nourish the world where every year 1.5 million children die from starvation or the effects of starvation. Come, 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 nourish the world, where we will no longer hear the screams and cries of women, girls, and the children in Bosnia, El Salvador, and Rwanda. Mamacita, Papa, Mama, Papa, Mama, Papi. The soldiers are marching in the streets near the hospital, but the nurses say we're safe. And the soldiers are laughing, marching, firing, calling out to us. I don't want to die. I am only 9 years old. I am only 10 years old. I am only 11 years old. And I cannot get out of bed because they have cut off one of my legs. And I hear the soldiers coming toward our rooms, and I hear the screams, and the children are running out of the room, and I can't get out of the bed. I don't want to die. Don't let me die, Rwanda. America, United Nations, don't let me die. And if we nourish ourselves, our countries, our communities, and say no more Hiroshima, no more Auschwitz, no more Wounded Knee, no more Middle Passage, no more slavery, no more Bosnia, no more Rwanda, no more intoxication, ideas of racial superiority. As we walk towards abundance, we'll never forget the earth, the sea, the children, the people. For we, the people, will always be arriving. A ceremony of thunder walking upon the earth, opening our eyes to human monuments. And it'll get better. It'll get better if we, the people, work, organize, resist, come together for peace, racial, social, and sexual justice. It will get better. It will get better.
Amen.
Joy Harjo, phenomenal poet, Muskogee Creek from Oklahoma. Please look her up. Look up Sonia as well. And Joy is also an activist. It's called Remember. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point in time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are the evidence of her life, and her mother's, and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth, whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them. Listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind. Remember her voice. She knows the origins of the universe. And remember that you are all people, and all people are you. Remember that you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember that all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember that language comes from this. Remember the dance that language is, that life is. Remember.